The strongest of trees often sprout from the tiniest of seeds. And it's not every day that one gets to bear witness to such powerful transformations in person. And yet, here we are today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rohit Panikar, your host for the evening. And on behalf of the books team, I welcome all those present today from India, Singapore, and the United States, our special guests and respected members of the media. So let me start the evening by introducing our special guests for the evening. We begin with Honorable Ambassador Dr. T.C.A. Raghavan, who is an accomplished diplomat and who has been India's High Commissioner to Singapore and Pakistan in his nearly 4 decades of government service in the Indian Foreign Service. He was also the Director General of Indian Council for World Affairs, the ICWA, a prolific author and historian. He has written 3 well-acclaimed books, namely Attendant Lords, The People Next Door, and the recently published History Men. Next, we have Mr. Akul Temunikar, who is a doyen in the education field and is a co-founding trustee, executive chairman of the Singapore-based Global Schools Foundation, which oversees nearly 35 campuses in 9 countries with a mission to improve quality education and imbibe strong values and entrepreneurship skills. Next, we have Mr. Rajiv Katyal, who is the Deputy Chief Operating Officer of Global Schools Foundation, with a rich experience in the field of education and skill development. He holds an MBA from IIM Kolkata. A keen historian, he has written and published a book on 700 years of Delhi's history titled Battles of Delhi, Dilli Kareeb Ast. Next, we have Mr. Pramod Tripathi, who is the Director of Education at Global Indian International School at Smart Campus Singapore. He has over 20 years of rich experience in school administration, policy formulation, and training. And next is Mr. Ashish Dehade, who is an accomplished entrepreneur and the co-founder and chief operating officer of ARA College Admissions. He is involved in mentoring and coaching of students through end-to-end admissions processes. Previously, Mr. Ashish has led global strategic planning, growth, and operations across the Americas, Europe, and the Asia Pacific in various multi-billion-dollar companies. And finally, we welcome Mr. Prashant Bafna, Country Director of Singapore for Global Schools Foundation. And the evening would not be complete without introducing the true star for the evening. Our author, Atyantika Mukherjee. I'm sorry, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir, because there seems to be some issue with my audio. All right. Now to speak about our star of the evening, Atyantika Mukherjee, who is a budding writer with a keen interest in global affairs, diplomacy, and history. She is a passionate advocate of sustainability. And Atyantika is the founder and director of the Red Lotus, which is a student-led community initiative for creating awareness about menstrual hygiene and to find solutions for safe disposal of sanitary waste. Pursuing her interests, Atyantika has completed certified programs in sociology, history, and philosophy. She is presently in her final school year pursuing IBDP at the prestigious Global International School at Singapore Smart Campus. She aspires to pursue humanities and international relations for her higher studies. And more about the book. So a young Indian girl accompanies her parents who are on a diplomatic assignment to Pakistan and ends up spending 4 years in Islamabad. Narrated from real life experiences which have changed her paradigm, My Islamabad Diary enables the reader to discover a nuanced understanding of Pakistan and her people, and that too as seen from the eyes of a young adult. Free of preconceived notions, biases, or propaganda, Atyantika breaks through the binary ideas of India and Pakistan to delve into culture, society, youth, and heritage. And I request the author Atyantika to speak a few words on her experience on writing this book and read an excerpt from the book for the audience, please.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for everyone who's attending today, all the esteemed guests who are gracing this event, and inevitably what is a very seminal moment in my life, the first publication, the first book I've ever released. I am very obviously very giddy, but my Islamabad diary is really a manifestation of all the experiences and all the anecdotes I remember of my time in Pakistan. I spent 4 years there. But it is only recently that I have realized how much of an impact that country has left on me. During 2020, when COVID hit and we were all cooped away in our homes, the question of college popped up and what I would pursue for higher studies. And I found myself leaning towards the humanities, towards international relations, towards global affairs. And the question arose, why am I interested in such fields? And I found that the answer really lay in my time in Pakistan, the 4 years I spent there, the sights, the sounds, the cities, even the smells of the entire country has now led me down a path where I find myself interested in global politics, in international relations, in history. And I think all of that comes from my experiences and my time in Pakistan, where I wore the mask of a student, of the daughter of a diplomat, of a friend. And all of those experiences, I think, are now coming together and are really pushing me to be the person I want to be. That is someone involved in the humanities. I tried to paint as accurate a picture as I possibly can of an entire country and of 4 years of an experience in my Islamabad diary. There's no way I could have done it justice, but I've done my best to provide vivid descriptions of the country, the people, my experiences, what I saw, what I heard, and what I then knew of Indian-Pakistan relations. I didn't know a lot, that is, but I think that's a good thing, because I feel that I experienced the country in its finest, with free, as is mentioned in the excerpt that the host read out, free of any preconceived notions or biases. So I try to write a bit about that in this book, really contextualize my time in Pakistan as a young Indian girl, and what I saw, the travails of diplomats and the country itself. Each chapter, I think, starts with my talk about the Qawmi Tarana and our Rashtrageet, the Indian Rashtrageet, and really try to juxtapose the two. And I end with a couplet at the end of each chapter to really summarize my experiences as a student, and to a certain extent a tourist, and just an Indian girl in Pakistan who happened to spend 4 years there. And those 4 years have left a lasting impact on my life. And I think I will continue to come back to the country and my experiences very often. But also, just to provide a quick glance, I will read out an excerpt of the book itself. It's from chapter 15, which is one of the last few chapters, where I really try to piece together what I would say of my experience in Pakistan as an Indian. Like I said, it's a heavy topic, and I probably did not do it justice. But I've done my best, and so I'll read it aloud now. I saw that there were expectations from a common shared heritage, a progressive present, and a future that brought opportunities. The truth lies somewhere in between. It isn't a binary of love or hate, or dove or hawk. There is enough common ground for the two nations to take the rocky, unsteady, and setback fraught relationship to move ahead, one step at a time. Common people have realistic dreams, simple dreams, and dreams that have the potential to create bridges. Cultural events, music, art, movies, and sports, student exchange programs are such avenues that could definitely provide an answer. There are, of course, formal institutions and mechanisms, both at bilateral and multilateral levels, which can provide impetus, if there is the will. On the few trips outside Islamabad, when we went to the erstwhile capital of Karachi, I got a brief taste of the ordinary Pakistani citizen's view of India. While my father was barred from stepping out of the hotel, my mother and I could only make a few stops around the city with a whole caravan of security personnel. Despite having lived in Pakistan for nearly 4 years, this was new to us. In frustration, when my mother asked one of the guards who exactly this protection was against and pointed out that we had never required such permits before. The guard slyly commented that this is not Islamabad. The barriers, some notional and some real, were simply keeping the people apart. The exchange of culture, art, music, and sports too was dwindling, and this portended a difficult relationship. It is in hindsight that I have realized that while I cultivated wonderful relationships in Pakistan with those I had seemingly nothing in common with, there was also a sense of ostracization and hostility that lurked under the surface. Yet I'm inclined to believe that these are the challenges many foreigners may be facing in specific countries. At the end of the day, I look back on my time in Pakistan with nothing but fondness. It is the kindness and understanding I experienced on the other side of the border that has stayed with me more than anything else. Once back in India, in an online workshop I was attending, I made a momentary mention of my stay in Islamabad and instantaneously received a message from a fellow attendee. Oh, wow, you lived in Pakistan. Do they hate us? And it's a heavy question, and I don't think there is a clear or a straightforward answer because people are different. People's communities within each country are different. But just taking from my own experiences and the anecdotes I can recollect from my time in Pakistan, try to address the question. And I also hope that any future readers who peruse through this book will also maybe find an answer through its pages. But thank you once again to everyone who's attending, and I hope I will be able to provide a more nuanced perspective on India-Pakistan relations. Thank you.
Atyantika Koturi Mukherjee, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Now we proceed to the official launch of the trailer for the book. So we will launch in a few seconds. The video should play.
The unique opportunity to live in Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan. As a young Indian girl, I witnessed the travails of diplomats and the real-world issues of the country. Growing up in Pakistan taught me much about conflict, culture, and of myself.
Thank you so much. Now I request Honorable Ambassador TCA Raghavan to speak a few words, please.
Well, good evening, and thank you very much for inviting me. I must say, when I logged on, I realized again what a small world we live in, because here I was at the launch of a book of Atyantika, who I knew in Islamabad, but the launch is in Singapore. And because of the launch, I have a chance to reconnect with friends who I have not seen for at least a decade. So it's wonderful to be here with Akul Temunikar, Rajiv Katyal, Pramod Tripathi, and all the other guests who have gathered here. And thank you very much, Atyantika, and congratulations on this book. I would particularly like to congratulate you, your teachers, and of course your parents for your confidence and your great drive for taking this initiative to record your recollections and memories of the time you spent in Islamabad. I read your book and I was struck by how much one learns from one's experiences and how we adopt to different circumstances and different environments. And really, and also very struck by how much you made of your 4 years there in terms of the friends you made, and especially so for the new interests you gathered and have persisted with. So I'm very happy to know that you're going to be studying humanities and international relations further. I think this book is a lasting contribution to the existing literature on the subject of India-Pakistan relations, most because you approach it without any preconceptions. I do think it's important to know our history, but it's equally important not to be bogged down by our history. So really your work is a really wonderful step in that direction. May I also, as I said, congratulate your parents and your teachers for inspiring you and giving you the confidence to take this step on your first publishing venture. But I know this will only be the first, because you will, I'm sure, be writing many more books and reflecting again and again on your experiences, not just in Pakistan, but also your other experiences. So thank you very much for inviting me here today, and all the very best to you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Mr. Akul Temunikar to speak a few words, please.
Good evening, everyone. I think it is something very extraordinary that she has done in order to get a different perspective of a topic that is generally a subject of massive debates across television channels in India. And I think when my office, my colleagues came and asked me that, one of our students has written a book, and particularly about her journey in Islamabad, I said that is something we should all cherish, not because she has written a book about Islamabad, but about her experience, her different narratives, and her journey that will give a very clear idea to our new young generation of students who are going to be, reading that or talking to her. And so she came down just about 2-3 days back to my office, and unfortunately, that was a very bad day for me, and I had to just go in and out of some panel discussions. And I later met her, and I was so glad that I met her in person. I'm also very glad that her journeys will be relayed to our students across various GIS campuses. We have a lot of Pakistani students in our schools, in our Abu Dhabi and Dubai campus. We have staff members who are from the same country. And, it's just such a wonderful people-to-people relations that we all enjoy. Our personal driver in Dubai is also from Peshawar. The people-to-people links are so warm and they're so healthy that I think this particular milestone by Atyantika in trying to get her journey across will be very, very cherished by all our South Asian students, not just South Asian, but also of other nationalities, from 70 different nationalities. And they will get a new insight into a country, into the journey of Atyantika. And I think this is amazing to be doing this at this age of 16, 17 years, is reminding me of how young students can have very different perspectives to set a lot of things right, and at least to set the right narratives of their experience. So congratulations to you, Atyantika, your parents, and Ambassador Akwan for really gracing this occasion. And I'm delighted. I'm actually missing out a panel discussion while Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia is speaking. But I said, this is more important to me. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say hello to him later. So thank you so much for having me here, and really wishing you all the best, Atyantika. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your words, sir. Now, I request Mr. Rajiv Katyal to speak a few words, please.
Thank you. First of all, Atyantika, we are extremely proud of you. It's a major achievement for you from the portals of GIS, and we cannot stop being proud of you. The book touches a personal chord with me because my family roots are from a place called Jhang in Pakistan, which is about 400 kilometers from Islamabad, Jhang and Lialpur. So always when Islamabad is mentioned, Pakistan is mentioned, there's an emotional chord in me. Having personally authored a book, let me tell you that authoring is a journey in which there are times when you feel very exhilarated, very creative, and you can write chapters. And there are times when you don't feel like touching the pen or the keyboard. There are times like that, and I experienced that during my first book. However, what keeps you into writing the book and coming out with something excellent is that you passionately believe in what you're writing. It's very important that when you're writing something, you passionately believe in the topic. Otherwise, you can't sustain that into a book. And I personally feel that at this point of time, the most important thing you get when you finish writing the book is when it comes out as a product, leather bound or beautifully hard bound. And that's the most rewarding moment. And I was very glad to hear that you called this your first book, which means you will write many more, and God bless you. Go ahead with that. I think one thing which is different from where we have written books on our history and things like that is that we have to delve into a lot of research to write the books. Your book is based on your emotive experiences. You're getting to know people over there, what you felt, what you experienced. That way you can never be short of the content, material, and inputs to write your book. And if in future you continue in the same vein, you'll never be short of ideas to write a book. I know I've written a book, and then comes the challenge of marketing this book. So all the best for your Facebook posts, your blogs, your other things like YouTube channels, and all the things you will do in terms of likes and engagements to make your book famous. If we can read the book and we can write reviews on it on Goodreads, on Amazon, we'd love to do it. And we like to boost your book as much as possible. But most importantly, I think it is the beginning of a wonderful, creative, and fulfilling journey for you, which will give you a kind of high which few experience in life. The idea of feeling something, knowing something, and creating something out of it, which really makes sense. So all the best, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
It was very encouraging. Thank you so much, sir, for your words. Now I request Mr. Ashit Dehade to speak a few words, please.
Well, thank you, and congratulations to Atyantika and the family. I think it's been an absolute pleasure and a huge learning experience working with this little lady, as I love to call Atyantika. Imagine writing a book while she took her other assignments like Red Lotus from nothing to global. While she managed all the invites she got from Global Fora to speak about the need for sustainable management of menstrual waste, while she built a team of capable fellow students to run Red Lotus globally. None of this has been easy. I dare say she must be among very rare 15-year-olds, her age when she and I got introduced, to have achieved so much. At this time, I must also credit Atyantika's parents, Samta and Amitabh, for their patience, for their support of Atyantika, for all their hard work in the background to make Atyantika's dreams come true, for being with her through this very tough journey of the last couple of years. My biggest takeaway from this venture by Atyantika is that our next generation has a point of view, that they have the courage to share their point of view, their perspective. And through that, they showcase the leadership skills they possess to change our world. Atyantika is an example of how our next generation is ready to take charge and lead the change that we need in our world. Another takeaway I have from my experience with Atyantika is that it is critical to work hard, to work on the ground, to convert our passions to tangible outcomes. What differentiates great from good is the ability to manifest ideas and thoughts into actual outcomes, outcomes that are delivered brilliantly. It is one thing to have a passion, it is an entirely different thing to do something about it, to benefit our world, to benefit our future. Atyantika is a proof, an evidence, and an assurance that our future is in safe hands. My congratulations to you, our little lady Atyantika, and her parents.
Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. Now I request Atyantika to formally conclude the event by presenting the vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you. It feels like it was just yesterday I was sitting at my desk, typing furiously at my computer, trying to pen down the words that are now bound to the pages of this book. What is now my Islamabad diary seemed inconceivable a year ago, but I am extremely humbled and extremely honored to have had the incredible opportunity of putting out my story, the story of a young girl and her experiences in Pakistan. This would not have been possible without the encouragement and contributions of several individuals, all of whom gave me the motivation to continue writing and eventually finish what would otherwise have been an incomplete manuscript hidden away in the depths of my mind and also my laptop. But firstly, my sincere gratitude to Ambassador Dr. T.C.A. Raghavan, who so graciously provided the foundation of this book. I do have some memories of our interactions at the Indian Embassy when I was a little girl, and I sincerely appreciate Your Excellency for lending my Islamabad diary your clarity of thought and your expertise in the realm of Indian-Pakistan relations. Your support will continue to serve as a significant source of motivation for me to continue my literary endeavors. I would also like to extend my thanks to Mr. Akul Temunikar, co-founder of GSF, for sparing his valuable time to grace this event. Thank you, sir, for your support. My gratitude to Mr. Rajiv Katyal and Mr. Pramod Tripathi from Global Schools Foundation, who are here as a source of motivation. I credit what has been a short but invigorating time at GIIS Singapore as a burst of inspiration for my Islamabad diary. Thank you for providing me a platform that has allowed me to utilize my potential and for gracing this event with your presence. I also wish to thank my principal and all other faculty at GIIS for their steady encouragement. I would also like to credit my mentors, Mr. Ashish Dehade and Ms. Rupali Deolalikar Dehade, for being the first few individuals to encourage me to pen down my experiences into this book. The evolution of a few casual conversations that has now crystallized into a tangible book has only been possible because of your advice, support, and encouragement. Finally, to the team at Books that literally made my dream a reality, a huge thank you. I would graciously like to thank Ms. Sudeepta for making good on her heavy promise of making me a published author, a promise that she made during our first conversation. Her and the entire team at Books has been a constant source of support in this seminal journey. A big heartfelt thank you to the audience here today. You've listened to the musings of a teenager on what has been for her a life-changing journey. And I hope that in this span of time, I have been able to provide a more nuanced insight into the lives of expatriates in Pakistan. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening. And to all my readers, I hope that you enjoy the anecdotes and emotions through my writing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Atyantika. So we have posted the links where you can purchase physical copies of the book or you can get ebooks. So if you check your chats, you will see the links. It's available primarily on Amazon. And yes, so there we conclude the event today and we shall play the trailer once again for you. And with that, the official book launch of Atyantika Kothuri Mukherjee's book, My Islamabad Diaries, is concluding. And thank you everyone who logged in today, who's been here, everyone who supported the budding author and for this event. Thank you and have a great evening, all of you.
The unique opportunity to live in Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan. As a young Indian girl, I witnessed the travails of diplomats and the real-world issues of the country. Growing up in Pakistan taught me much about conflict, culture, and of myself.